Hi, everyone. What you are looking for is where you are looking from. This is such a beautiful and simple statement, but it really captures the answer that every single one of us is seeking. Whether you're seeking enlightenment or spiritual awakening, physical healing, emotional healing, connectivity, the end of grief, the end of sadness, the end of depression, the end of addictions, the end of self loathing, healing your inner child, whatever you're trying to do, what you are looking for is where you are looking from. So I actually think that's a quote from St. Francis. So I just don't want to take credit for it. But I'm going to explain that concept here to you. And if you've been following the Pain Body series, you understand that you are lost in the awareness of pain that captivates your attention. But a lot of people are asking what to do about it. Do I just ignore the pain and then doesn't that become dissociation? Yes, ignoring the pain is dissociation. And again, the answer is to look at the pain, to acknowledge the pain, allow the pain, let it be, but from where? Okay, so I'm going to draw the whole thing for you and it will make sense, I promise. Okay, so before you came to this earth, you were spirit. You still are spirit. That never stopped. In fact, it cannot stop. If you define spirit, spirit is not an object, it is not a discrete entity, it is not a subset of your being. Spirit is everything. It's one of the things that is lost in language. The word spirit doesn't convey that. But in the East, in the yogic world, they refer to it as the divine. The divine is a property of everything. It is an aspect of the one thing that is everywhere. So it is easy to grasp if you use the word God. If you replace spirit with God, I know a lot of people, they're not comfortable with that yet because it does bring some baggage from, religious abuse and religious trauma in their childhood. But let's just for a moment explore the word God. God is, what do we know about God? We know that God is everywhere, right? And we also know that God is love. While we're on the topic, God is love. Um, God is all capable, all knowing, never changing, complete, indivisible, right? That makes sense in our minds when we use the word God. But apply that to spirit. Apply that to the universe. The universe is everywhere, it's the universe. Spirit is everywhere. So I found the largest whiteboard I can find because spirit is everywhere. And spirit is not only everywhere, spirit is indivisible. There are not fragments of spirit. When spirit came into this world and became me or became you, spirit still remains spirit, right? You are not an amputated limb of spirit that spirit threw onto the earth and said, good luck. You are spirit reaching and existing as this entity and that entity and that entity, but still spirit, right? So this represents spirit because there is no beginning, there is no end, there is no border, there is no edge, there is no me, there is no you, there is no here, there is no there is no now, there is no then. Spirit. One big thing. Spirit, experiences occur within spirit, right? And there was a moment when spirit said, let there be you. Let you be, let's go with the name Priya. You, Priya, became an experience in spirit. A little spark of light came and created a location called Priya. And then Priya developed an embryo and then a little body, and Priya got some legs and she got some hands and feet, and she knew her boundaries, right? As a child, you understand, okay, I have two hands, I have many fingers, and how many feet is that my foot? That foot is also my foot. And then your awareness becomes aware of the shape of your body. I hope you can see that. You will soon. And then your awareness starts to become aware of the feelings. You can hear and you can see and you can taste and you can smell and you can touch, right? And then you become aware of your house and your toys and your mommy and your daddy, and you become aware of your best friend, your school, your neighbors, your neighborhood, your streets. You become aware of school and the other kids and the boys and the girls and the games and the toys and your teachers and your favorite subject and your favorite food and your favorite candy and your best friend. And your awareness is on all of this. And as you grow older, your awareness gets captured by other things. And you start to draw this well-defined sense of who you are. And you just accumulate, these are my objects, these are my people, these are my places, these are my definitions. My definitions being, what is my gender, my race, my religion, my nationality? What do I believe? What is my political views? What are my values? And you define you. And this is solid to you by the time you're 20 something, 30 something. This is just like solid, right? You know exactly, you know your favorite drink, you know your favorite dessert, you know what pisses you off, you know how you vote, you know what you believe in, what you don't believe in, and you know what you will walk out of a room for. Like, you know who you are, right? There isn't necessarily anything wrong with that, because you came to have a human experience and you came to know what it was like to be you. But the problem is that when you existed as spirit, you were aware of all of everything. And now that you exist as a human being, you, that's supposed to be a little eyeball, you know this and this only, right? You have forgotten the rest of it. You, your your definitions, your boundaries became you. It's like putting up a fence and then saying, this is called a yard, my yard. This is my home. This is, I am here. You put up enough edges to separate you from everybody else, because there's other people putting up edges too, and then you become someone. I do have a point here. Stick with me. So the thing is that a beautifully happy, lighthearted person who doesn't worry about anything, they do exist. We know a few of them. They just walk around going, oh, today I had a sandwich and a banana and I'm happy and I'm going to sleep over here and life is nice. But for the vast majority of us, this boundary becomes very well defined sense of separation from others. You know that if you wear your hair in a certain style, people are going to laugh at you. You know that if you touch fire, you're going to get burnt. You know that if you stand up for yourself, your parents are going to be mean to you. You know that if you depend on people, they're going to disappoint you, right? You know a whole bunch of pains, and this sense of you becomes pains. Why? Because pains are sticky and attractive. Um, Pains occupy your awareness, right? If I showed you a clip on the phone, on YouTube, of a cute flower, a beautiful flower and a sunrise, you would be like, oh, cute. And then if I showed you a clip of the latest political development, you would just go, rah, because it annoys you. And I'm just using a metaphor here. I'm not saying that you shouldn't have political opinions. But if I take away the phone and half an hour later I say, you remember that thing I showed you on the phone? You will remember the political situation. Awareness, the mind, the ego, latches on to darkness, to pain, to separation, to injustice. It doesn't mean that those things don't exist and it's making it up. No, I'm just saying that it latches onto it. Your awareness is captivated by those things. In fact, if you weren't looking at these things, where would your awareness be? It would be on the whole thing, on spirit. So, um, so what do we do about this? So first I want to say, let's go back to exploring spirit, right? So spirit is totally connected with everything. Spirit is one. Spirit is, as we said, God is love, right? So spirit is love. Spirit has no separation, no othering, no judgment, no hate, no brutality, no favoritism, no unfairness. Spirit is everything, so spirit cannot lose anything. Spirit has no lack, spirit has abundance. Spirit is not separated from anyone, and spirit doesn't experience grief. So this is a state of being here when you are here. If I were to draw another little eyeball here, that's what you would experience, all of those things. You wouldn't want anything, so you would be content. You wouldn't be upset by anyone, so there would be peace. You wouldn't be heartbroken, so you would still be able to experience love. But instead, you have gotten trapped inside of this thing here that is very well, essentially consists of very well defined boundaries. What separates you from other people? And if you are able to get out of here, you will stand here and you will realize that all of these properties are already yours. If you can look, if you can, I'll just draw a different eye. If you can, look from here, if your perspective, if your consciousness is from here, you will see through the eyes of the experience of being here. But right now, your consciousness, your experience, your awareness is within the boundaries of your pain. Is this making sense? Okay. So what do you do about this? Okay, there's two things you can do. So you can slowly heal pain, right? Therapy and forgiveness and letting it go and prayer and having those conversations that you need to have with people, self-analysis, healing the inner child, shadow work, they will eventually slowly get rid of the pre-existing pain and separation. So that's eventually you lose that thing that separates you from your divinity. But the problem is that more pain and more trauma and more separation and more depression comes every day. So you just did all that work, but then somebody else hurts you, and then you see something else on the news, and then you're worried about something else, and it's like, oh no, I've made no progress. But I don't want to discourage you. All of that stuff, therapy and inner child work and shadow work, is very important, because you need to make sure that the physical, mental, and emotional being that you're working with, that you're expressing as, can have as good an experience as possible. So you really do need to do the work to heal this. But in the meantime, you don't have to wait for 20 years of therapy to fix it. You can, at least occasionally, and I promise you eventually, for most of your experience, you can experience life here. You can. And you don't have to escape this. You don't have to kill this. There's a tendency to want to kill the ego. I hate the ego, bad ego, go away ego, no ego, la 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 la, there is no pain, there is no pain, there is no ego. And that's not going to get you there. Do you know why? Because when you're looking at that ego and you're looking at that pain and you're saying bad pain, what are you doing? You are looking here. You're still looking here. What you are looking for is where you are looking from. You have to look from the divine. So how do you become the divine? Okay, how do you become God? Is there maybe there's like an unbelievably potent psychedelic or a really fantastic ceremony you can do. Maybe you can find a super super supreme master who can be like, boom, you are God. Yeah, actually, probably can do that, but it's not going to be a sustained experience. And also, do you have the time, the money, and the resources to find these magical things that may or may not exist, that may or may not give you a moment's glimpse into divinity? Instead, couldn't you just simply access that now? Has your spirit been cut off from you? Are you denied access to your spirit? um, is God far away from you? Are you only allowed to experience heaven when you die? Where is heaven? Heaven is where God is. God is everywhere. Heaven is everywhere. This whole thing that is spirit, that is love, is the dwelling place of the divine, and the dwelling place of the divine is heaven. All of this is heaven, right? You exist within that. It's a very hard concept to grasp, especially when your mind keeps saying, oh, so all the murderers and the child rapists exist in heaven. I'm not going to get into that existential argument, that philosophical argument, because that is the argument of the ego. What I want you to do, if you're willing to do it, I'm not going to argue with you if you're still, interested in looking at those things. I'm asking you if you're willing to experience your divinity, if you're willing to see as spirit, if you're willing to visit the kingdom of God. Remember in the Bible, Jesus said, the kingdom of heaven is within you. He did not say you will die and go to the kingdom of heaven. He did not say that if you are very special and work very hard and highly favored, then and only then will you have access to the kingdom of heaven. He did not. He said the kingdom of heaven is inside of you. So, okay, so the point here is, how do we get to experience as the divine? How do you see through the eyes of spirit? That is your right, your birthright, your right by nature. You are a product of this. It's like a drop of water in the ocean asking me, how do I see the ocean? Do I have the right to see the ocean? And I would say, my dear, you are the ocean. And of course, you have the right to experience the ocean at any moment in time, ever. You have the right to perceive the ocean because you are the ocean. That is your inheritance. Your ability to do that is your inheritance. So how do we do this? It's what I call being. Okay, it's what I call being. It's super easy actually, but I'm just gonna give you some resources. So I have written a book called The Art of Being, which will be published on April 24th. You can find information in the description. I'm going to release a series of short meditation tracks that will guide you to the experience of being. There is such a video on my channel already in the guided meditation playlist. It's called Being, but I'm going to do a better quality, and they're going to be audio tracks you can download, have it on your phone, and there will be no ads. So I'm working on that. You will get that within the next week or so. And again, you can find out about that in the description below. If you want notifications on this, sign up for the newsletter so I can send those things directly to you. That's in the description. So everything that I'm going to do, I'm going to do a whole series of videos on being, and I'm going to explain being from a bunch of different angles. And you may not get it. You probably won't get it unless you've been exposed to this concept before. But I'm just asking you to listen, because you will hear these words in your heart, and your heart will help you to understand what these words mean. So being is the experience of here. This is doing, thinking, worrying, feeling, and doership, trying to fix, right? This egoic perception, this apparent separate self, is a symptom of the action of thinking and doing and feeling. And when you're done with this, all that is left naturally, your natural state, is a state of being. It's just a state of being. And you can experience that through the practice of being. So today, one of the approaches I want to explain to this is your awareness is here when it thinks about body, mind, senses, the five senses, what I see, hear, taste, touch, memory, what I read, what happened to me, traumas, what went on at work, what was in the news today, what I saw on my social media today, and projections of the future, which are usually based on fear. So worry of the future, anxiety, fear, what if scenarios. These are the things, and of course possessions, and perceptions that you have as a separate self. So I don't have this, I need this, I want this. That person doesn't love me, that person does love me, I wish I had that person. What about this? I'm such a failure, blah, 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 blah. We can go on and on and on about it, but the awareness of those things is what causes you to exist in here. When you stop being aware of those things, and of course you cannot persistently stop being aware of those things for your entire life, but you can stop for 1 second, 5 seconds, 1 minute, 5 minutes, every single day. Every single day. You can do a meditation that can stop this awareness, that can lift your awareness off of this, and then place your awareness. You don't have to place it anywhere. When your awareness isn't looking at this, it's right here. It is right here already. So, the guided meditations that I do, you'll notice that they will first relax the body, first surrender your will so that your mind and your ego aren't resisting, and say, I want to do this experience. And then they will calm the body and relax the body so that your awareness is not on the body. And then you'll go inside and put your awareness on the breath so that you're no longer aware of the five senses, what you're seeing, hearing, tasting, touching in the room. And then you will also, by focusing your awareness on the breath, you have lifted your awareness off of your past, and you have lifted your awareness off of the future. No memory, no worry, no pain, no anxiety. What is left? If when you remove all of that, your awareness is no longer in all of that for a few moments, for a few minutes, then you realize that you have divine awareness. You start to perceive from divinity, and you'll see in these meditations. I recommend go and find that being meditation on my channel and do it. I'll link it in the comments and at the end of this video. What is left is the lack of separation, the lack of struggle, the lack of need, the lack of want, the lack of pain, the lack of anxiety. And that is the bliss that you're looking for. When you no longer want something, you're content, and that is peaceful. When you no longer judge the other, you see in the other what exists in yourself, and that is love, because there's no separation. So all the things you're looking for, I know it sounds like I'm oversimplifying it, and I'm not asking you to believe me. I'm not asking you to go find proof, like to draw a map of how this works. I'm asking you to go and experience it. Just experience this for yourself, and you'll realize it's the truth. It only takes a minute of this for you to realize that. What will happen is you will realize that you see as the divine, and you will also realize that this space here, the space that is spirit, is one with you. This space that is love is one with you. I'll go into all of these in other videos. And this space can be referred to as the kingdom of heaven, right? And when you dwell in this kingdom of heaven, everything is already there. You already have the love that you're seeking, or the abundance that you're seeking, or the eternal life that you're seeking. You already have the connectivity with the people that you're grieving. All of that exists in this space here, and that's why it's called the kingdom of heaven. And to go back to the Bible, the kingdom of heaven is within you. And if you seek the kingdom of heaven, seek first the kingdom of heaven, and all these things will be added onto you, because you will realize that you have them. And since you already have them, if you ask for something, know that you already have it, and you will have it. This is where inspiration comes from. It's where creativity comes from, and it's where manifestation comes from. But not only that, I don't want you to seek this because it will bring some magic thing, like I'm going to win the lottery. It's not about that. It's about the thing has disappeared. That entity, that pain, that big dark storm cloud has disappeared. And if you exist here more and more often, what's going to happen is you don't necessarily need to go and heal this beast. You don't need to analyze this beast and take this beast to therapy. You eventually become really comfortable being here, and you start to know that this is your natural state. And then when the ego and the mind and the pain and your family and the energy vampires and the media and all those people, when they say, come jump into this muddy, nasty swamp with me, you will say, no, I'm here. I have what I'm looking for because of where I am looking from. So I hope this makes sense to you. Again, I just ask that you're patient enough, that you're brave enough to try it and experience it for yourself, and that you're patient enough to listen to me explain it to you in different ways over and over and over again. Please leave comments and let me know what you think about this. And I take your comments very seriously. I will address them in the next video. Thank you guys for watching. Have a wonderful day.